that we witnessed together about 2 hours ago. What we saw is a helicopter dropping people onto the roof of one of these buildings and also bringing other people up. It looked like they were evacuating people that were injured. Whether or not those were indeed injured or law enforcement, we're waiting to confirm that. But the skill of this team was really a sight to behold. So we wanted to talk a little bit about this. There you can see the basket being raised up to the helicopter, and you're going to see the helicopter fly away in just a moment. And this happened time and time again during the 10 o'clock hour. Joining us now, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Kay. He served as an officer in the Great Britain's Royal Air Force. He's also a former casualty evacuation helicopter pilot, so he's the guy to talk to about this. I mean, Michael, this was quite a scene. It's great to have you. Just tell us a little bit about the skill and what went through your mind when you saw that.
Well, first of all, I used to be a Special Forces aviation commander working with UK and US Special Forces in Baghdad on the hunt for high-value asset Al-Qaeda individuals. And this is a situation that we termed in military parlance as a very dynamic situation. And what we're seeing at the moment is an incredibly reactive situation that requires critical helicopter aviation assets to be involved in a number of different areas of what's going on. The first one, obviously, is the critical safety to the people within the environment in the local area. And what that means is casualty evacuation in terms of what we might have seen in some of the pictures that you're showing at the moment as the baskets coming down. They could be used really to get people away from the area or anyone that's injured to hospital immediately. But the second capability that these helicopters will be providing is a sniper platform. So not only are they providing safety, they're also prioritizing the hunt for the potential additional shooters that might be at large at the moment. Now, clearly, the best way of doing this is to have eyes in the sky, not only from the pilots and the guys down the back, but also they've got very sophisticated cameras on board, thermal imaging cameras, which will allow them to detect movement in what is actually a really incredibly difficult environment to track a shooter in the urban environment. And then the third aspect that these helicopters will be doing is what's called C2, command and control. So they'll be the eyes and ears in the sky, and they'll be directing ground support units as required to various locations to look at what they think might be potential suspects.
So certainly a lot is depending upon the pilot, but also his team inside that helicopter. As we see again the video of what looks like a rescue basket, and Michael, we probably have seen some of this in Coast Guard rescue videos, for example, and not necessarily in this way. Is this typical, the way that this is being used here?
I think one of the great things about helicopters is their versatility, and the pilots and the crewmen down the back and the snipers on board, they'll be trained in a number of different skill sets, and what the commander, the aviation commander, will be doing is using those skill sets that he thinks best serve the situation at the moment. So they might be a little bit unorthodox. You know, the basket may be used for something which isn't carrying personnel, but it may be all they have at the moment. So they'll just be freestyling this, and they'll be using their judgment, their skill, their expertise, and their knowledge of previous situations to be able to get the best out of what they're doing at the moment.
Go back to the point that you made about the gear on board as well, because as we understand it, according to the reports, there are 2 other people that law enforcement are looking for, and quite frankly, it doesn't appear that there's any particular lead about where these 2 gentlemen are. A very basic description of each of them, and as we know it, there are several schools in the Washington, D.C. area on lockdown. We're getting a total count of 8 right now. Maybe a concern about the bad guys in different neighborhoods. So how will the helicopters now be used?
Well, I mean, this is sort of very fugitive style approach to the situation. What we're seeing at the moment is the longer the time goes on between the shooting, obviously the greater the distance between where the attack took place and where the shooters are trying to get to will extend. And so helicopters become even more and more vital to this operation. What I would say also is the fact that human intelligence is absolutely critical at this point, because eyes and ears in the sky is one thing, but as you rightly alluded to, it's incredibly hard to identify people from the sky. And so what they will require on is the SWAT teams and the police and enforcement agencies and the FBI getting out there and getting very quick human intelligence from people on the ground that might have seen something that is very suspect in order to try and track the location. The other thing as well, I would add, is that if we cast back our minds to how the Boston bombers were found, the second bomber was found in a boat which was covered over by tarpaulin. Now that person was actually detected through a thermal imaging camera. So as this goes on and as night starts to fall, those thermal imaging capabilities will become more and more important.